DMart has quietly entered the pharmacy business with half a dozen in-store medical counters already live. But the key question remains, can pharmacy business finally lift DMart's stagnant margins? In this video, I will break down key questions that are in every investor's mind. How India's pharmacy landscape works, DMart's existing margin trajectory, EBITDA and PAT margins between 2018 to 2026, the margin ladder, food versus pharmacy versus apparel, how much margin each segment earns, why pharmacy is a natural fit for DMart, the advantages. DMart's pharmacy platform reflect healthcare and retail, the 100% subsidiary. The financials of pharmacy business, revenue up, losses narrowing, a typical early stage ramp up. And finally, DMart's pharmacy play will be slow, steady and disciplined, just like DMart's rollout in the last 20 years. Now let's understand DMart's entry into pharmacy business in detail. Now, number one, pharmacy aligns perfectly with DMart's everyday low-cost DNA. DMart का जो पूरा DNA है, that is the low cost. Every day they offer, some or the other discounts. Pharmacy भी इसमें perfectly fit होता है. Second is the management recognizes that medicine like groceries are a high frequency, price sensitive purchase category. Now, ये एक ऐसा आइटम है जिसमें फ्रीक्वेंसी बहुत ज़्यादा है और इफ यू लुक एट द प्राइसेस बहुत प्राइस सेंसिटिव भी है. ये पूरा अलाइन करता है डीमार्ट के ग्रोसरी और द मर्चेंडाइजिंग एंड द एपरल पोर्टफोलियो. वो भी हाई फ्रीक्वेंसी प्रोडक्ट्स हैं एंड दे आर आल्सो वेरी प्राइस सेंसिटिव. थर्ड, ए फिजिकल फर्स्ट अप्रोच, नॉट एन ऐप फर्स्ट अप्रोच. इफ यू सी द मार्केट, बहुत प्लेयर आ गए हैं जो ऑनलाइन फार्मेसी में है एंड एवरीबडी इज सेइंग कि फ्यूचर इज ऑनलाइन, बट डीमार्ट is very clear. Their approach is physical first. So all store will be part of the larger DMart store. And the other thing, if you see, DMart has consistently maintained that its strongest moat is the in-store retail, not digital customer acquisition. Instamart, Zepto and all, DMart अपनी pace में चल रहा है. They want to be in digital, but they are not in a hurry. So the moat currently is the store-led retail and the pharmacy model that fits into DMart's strength. Thin margin, high volumes. That works for DMart. Efficient supply chain. I mean, that's where DMart wants to be ahead of others. Deep vendor relationship. Over the years, DMart has created a very robust vendor network. And जो relationship उन्होंने बनाई है, same format they will take it into the pharmacy business. Now the big question comes, will pharmacy help in DMart's stagnant or declining margin? That's the big question. So margin समझने से पहले हमें एक competitive landscape को समझना पड़ेगा. So ये एक चार्ट है जिसमें different players हैं, the online, the offline and the hybrid. Now that will give us some sense of the kind of competition DMart pharmacy or the DMart medical is going to face. Now number one is the Apollo 24/7 is part of Apollo hospitals, so they have a lot of advantage because they also have their pharmacies inside the hospitals. So it's a similar the way DMart is thinking, but they have ready captive customer because of the hospitals. Full stack omni player, 6,900 plus stores, and they have an app also. So they are the biggest player in the market, operating both offline and online. And offline they have a lot of advantage. And if you compare with DMart, they are way ahead because they have a lot of captive customers. Second is Tata 1mg, part of Tata Group, both online and offline stores, and they have 126 plus store and they are on a rapid expansion. So Tatas are also a big competitor for DMart. PharmEasy, they also have a hybrid model as part of API Holdings. So app plus franchisee stores, 250 plus stores and national presence. Wellness Forever, this is also a very visible brand in the market. Independent hai, 24/7 stores hai, and 375 stores plus app. So the advantage they have is the 24/7 approach. Geno Health, independent generic omni-channel है, 180 plus stores है, 200 micro franchisees हैं. Now DMart Reflect Healthcare is the 100% subsidiary of DMart, so it's part of Avenue Supermart. Pharmacy shop in shop pilot stage में चल रहा है and store 5 to 6, so half a dozen store they have already opened और ये सब pilot stage पे है. अब यहाँ ये समझना बहुत जरूरी है कि DMart is never in a hurry. Even if you go back, when they started in 2001 and 2, and we saw a huge expansion of other players in 2004-5 period to 2010, where you had Biani, Birlas, and even Reliance also, came with their, the agri, retail outlets. And then we saw, what happened to Biani and the others, because they all had to shut down, a lot of stores. But DMart's Radhakrishnan Demani, he had this approach of a slow, steady, disciplined, understanding the market, understanding the vendor, and he was not chasing growth. He wanted growth with profitability and learning, because when you are in a new industry, you have to learn a lot. So this DMart Reflect Healthcare is also approaching this business in a similar fashion. So they are not in a hurry. Reliance Retail, now that's the dark horse, NetMeds plus Jio. So part of Reliance Group, online plus selective offline, growing, and the store count is not disclosed. So they also have a physical plus online kind of a model. So it's not going to be easy for DMart because if you see the kind of competition and very visible players, the only advantage which I see, for DMart and apart from Apollo, is the in-store advantage, the kind of footfalls they get on a daily basis. And surely the second part is going to be the price part, and I'm sure they will be very competitive because they have a lot of cost savings. Now let's understand the DMart's business model and the margins. Now DMart is into grocery. Now this is a very competitive and price sensitive space. Now the margin here is 8 to 14%. Foods, more brand, more promotion. This is also around 12 to 18%, slightly higher. General merchandise, 15 to 25%. This is much better. Now, DMart's 50% of the portfolio is grocery, and that's where the margins are lower. And the rest, 25% each is divided between general merchandise and apparel. So apparel also margins are very high, but DMart has only 25% of its revenue coming from apparel. So apparel with 30 to 45% margin hai. So both these businesses post COVID are lagging. Now comes to the pharmacy part. Higher trust, regulated category hai, but margins are 20 to 33. So that's where the DMart can compensate margin with the pharmacy business. This is the core in the grocery, which is around 50 to 55%. This is not growing the way it should have grown, and they have a lot of competition here. With Trent, Reliance, they are coming out with new formats and very segregated kinds of format. So this category is remain going to be very, very competitive for DMart. Maybe they can compensate this with the pharmacy. So today they have 430 stores. So tomorrow, if they have a medical store inside these 430 stores, imagine the kind of margin DMart will earn. 20 to 33% margin in the pharmacy business. If they can get it right, this can easily compensate the loss of growth here. Now आप ये समझते हैं कि DMart के जो margins हैं they are stagnant, and I have a longer period here to see how the margins are behaving. Now if you look at the EBITDA margin, which matters most for the investors, FY18 में it was 8.9, FY19 8.2, FY20 8.6, and then see the decline 7.3 FY21, that because of the COVID and all, and then FY22 it normalized to earlier period 8.2, and then FY23 8.7, and from here it's a decline. See, in the last 5 years, FY24 8.3 dropped from 8.7, FY25 7.9, then first half of FY26, the current financial year, 7.9. So from 8.7 or from 8.5 plus, it's now close to 8%. So EBITDA margins are going down, and pharmacy in a way can compensate that loss of margins here. Now let's look at the PAT margins. 5.2, then 5.5, then if you see 6.1, again FY23 was the best year for DMart, 6.1% PAT margins. Now let's see 4.9 in the first half of FY26. So PAT margins are also on the decline, and that's where the pharmacy business fits in. And the pharmacy rollout is not going to happen in the next 1 or 2 years. It's a longer term story for DMart. It will take 3 to 5 years to make some incremental change here on the margins, both EBITDA and the PAT margins. Now let's understand in detail how the pharmacy business fits in well, with the DMart, business. Now number one, zero cash burn. and minimal capex. DMart की जो approach है वो है physical store और in-store medical stores. So there is no real estate cost. Is only going to be an incremental cost to set up a small counters inside the current 430 plus DMart stores. So unlike other DMart का जो model है is going to be asset light model. Now second is the ready footfalls, high conversion rate chances. Now when you have lakhs of customer coming to your store every day, it's very natural that they will be able to convert this customer into their medical customers. So second, there is no customer acquisition cost. And third is there is a huge unorganized market to tap. Currently, if you see in every neighborhood, you will find 2 to 3 medical stores. There is a huge unorganized market, and that's where DMart, जहाँ उसने grocery model को एक successful model बनाया है, they can easily replicate that model in the medical stores also. And so physical first. And if you see the consumer behavior, आज भी लोग एक neighborhood medical store में जाते हैं दवाइयाँ खरीदने. So it's very clear that the physical stores will stay. Now let's understand the legal structure, how DMart is doing this pharmacy business. तो 2018 में DMart ने एक subsidiary open करी and the name was Reflect Wholesale and Retail Private Limited. Now initially this was mainly for OTC and other product to be provided for their DMart stores. So उन्हें एक अलग subsidiary बनाया. 3 साल पहले उन्होंने रीब्रांड किया इस कंपनी को फॉर हेल्थ केयर फोकस. सो 3 साल पहले दे स्टार्टेड रोलिंग आउट देयर फार्मेसी स्ट्रैटेजी. क्या किया? द सब्सिडरी वाज रीनेम्ड रिफ्लेक्ट हेल्थ केयर एंड रिटेल प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. सो फ्रॉम रिफ्लेक्ट होलसेल एंड रिटेल से नाम बना दिया रिफ्लेक्ट हेल्थ केयर एंड रिटेल लिमिटेड. नाउ क्लियरली सिग्नलिंग a shift from wholesale operation towards a dedicated healthcare एंड फार्मेसी रिटेल स्ट्रैटेजी. नाउ इन्वेस्टर का काफी इंटरेस्ट होगा कि भाई ऑन ग्राउंड में क्या चल रहा है फार्मेसी. नाउ इफ यू सी 7 फार्मेसी स्टोर ऑलरेडी ओपन सो फार. अगर आप बॉम्बे में जाएंगे तो बॉम्बे में काफी स्टोर है जहां पर आप देखेंगे कि एक मेडिकल स्टोर भी डीमार्ट के अंदर है. और दूसरा मैनेजमेंट कमेंट्री है. एग्जीक्यूशन तो नहीं बोल सकते, बट देयर इज ए क्लैरिटी फ्रॉम द मैनेजमेंट. सो दिस दे हैव सेड दैट दिस इज कंसिस्टेंट विद डीमार्ट्स फिलॉसफी. No trend chasing. This is what management keeps saying. Management has reiterated that DMart never enters a category unless long-term fundamentals justify it. They are still learning it, and they have a strategy in paper. So today they have 430 plus store, and every year they are opening 50 new stores. So now they have a clear strategy. So जब भी नए store खुलेंगे तो pharmacy भी अंदर से ready रहेगा start होने के लिए. So on day 1 the new store will start with the pharmacy business. So other thing which the management has said that DMart will scale only when its core operating principles are met. What is that? One, supply chain efficiencies are replicable. This is very important. Medicine procurement, distribution and the availability must mirror DMart's low cost, high volume DNA. Second, working capital stays tight. DMart runs a very tight ship. Pharmacy must adhere to DMart's discipline of minimal inventory days and strong cash cycles. Now if you see in a DMart store, on the 21st day, a product which comes to DMart store and is put on the shelves on 21st or the 22nd day, it is out. So they run a very tight cycle. It's not that the products are there for months or for let's say 90 days or 120 days. On an average, a product is out on the 22nd day. Now investors will be interested in the financial performance of this subsidiary. So it's a very new subsidiary. If you see 23, hardly any operation, and if you see FY24, they made a revenue of around 3 crore, and FY25 they made a revenue of 12 crore. See the jump from 3 to 12, and FY26 I'm sure it will cross 25 crores. Losses, just see, because of setup cost and all that. So 2 crore of losses in FY25. You will see a scaling here in the next 2-3 years. So the final word, DMart pharmacy or the DMart's medical business will be a brick by brick build out. Nothing is going to happen in the next 1 or 2 years. It's a long-term story, and you will see the results in 3 to 5 years. While others burn billions chasing customer acquisition, DMart waits patiently for scale advantage to kick in, vendor negotiation to mature, compliance to stabilize, store level profitability to become predictable. Only then does DMart quietly scale. Or this is the way DMart ने grocery business बनाया. This is the way they built the FMCG business, and this is exactly how DMart will build the pharmacy business. Just to make a disclosure, I have investment in DMart stock. And in case you want to buy, sell and hold DMart stock, I suggest do consult your financial advisor. And this video is only for educational purposes.